Hey, good afternoon, everyone. As we start coming on in, hello to Substack World, YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, wherever you are picking us up today. Welcome. I'm Nick Paro, co-founder here at Banner and Backbone, joined by my friends Tara Devlin of Terror Buster and Political Voices Network, and Kris Goldsmith of On Offense and Valor Media Network, and so much more. Welcome, everyone, to today's Anti-Fascist Book Club, where we are continuing our discussion here on Banner and Backbone into Masha Gessen's Surviving Autocracy. How's it going, everyone? Welcome. It's been a week or so since I think we missed last week because everyone was really busy. But how are you both doing today? How's everyone in the audience as we start coming on in?
So far, so good.
Yeah,
Good.
it's been running myself ragged, but all with good things. So it's good to be back. It's been like a month or more since I've been able to make one of these. So good.
Yeah, we haven't. Yeah, I'm glad you're back. And you sort of came back on a perfect week too for the discussion while we're in the book, because these 3 chapters that we're going over, they're not very long chapters this week, but it's all about white supremacy and toxic masculinity and the death of truth. And it's going to be an interesting discussion. So I'm glad you're back with us for today. So Kris, do you mind doing as we always do while you're here, is what the Anti-Fascist Book Club is and isn't before we get into our book for the day?
Absolutely. So the Anti-Fascist Book Club is something that I came up with back in November of 24 after the elections. Folks wanted to understand what we were in for. We are now all experiencing authoritarianism, right? So I developed a book list, a recommended reading list for people to better understand what we're currently living through, what was then coming down the pipeline, and since have developed it into a center for organizing. A lot of folks have been like looking to, Indivisible or any of these like organizing platforms or giant, organizations, and that might not fit them because it's, like these No King's Day things happen once every 4 months or so, right? In order to fight fascism, we got to work every day. So the Anti-Fascist Book Club, the instruction manuals are available at veteransfightingfascism.org. The whole goal is to get you and some like-minded folks to meet in person if possible, but at least once a week so that you can build relationships. Relationships and community are the essential element of fighting fascism. You cannot do it alone. You can't do it without having your own little army, your squad. So if you're interested in learning more, you can go to veteransfightingfascism.org. The whole website is basically dedicated to the Anti-Fascist Book Club, the guides, the reading list, how to keep yourself safe, that kind of thing. So awesome that all these folks are tuning in. Thanks.
Yeah, and thanks everyone for being here with us and being part of this discussion as we start back up. Like I said, this week, we're getting back into Surviving Autocracy. The title screen was a little off. This is actually the beginning of part 3 of our book, chapters 17 through 19. And it's the title of part 3 is Who is Us? To bring us into like what the general discussion of these next 3 chapters will be. And I'll read their chapter titles just so everybody is on sync with what our full discussion is going to be for today. So we are covering, like I said, chapter 17 through 19, which is a white male supremacist presidency, quote, throw off the mask of hypocrisy, end quote, and the anti-politics of fear. And I was reading through the first chapter of this, and it was like 2 pages. This chapter 17 is tiny, but it really just hits at how spineless the Republicans have been and how weak that party has been since the beginning of Trump. and that we should have all seen this sooner than we did, because they were so weak on Trump that it was already the end game. We just didn't realize it yet. And like this chapter talks about the Charlottesville riot, where there were fine people on both sides, or good people on both sides, which there weren't. There are no good people on the Nazi side. The Nazi rally was not good people.
Right.
And the Republicans came out strong in their tweets against it and their initial statements, and then never once talked about it again, basically. It just fell off the radar because they didn't care. And that set up the whole presidency and his whole first term. And we should have known from there, and we should have all responded much more swiftly from there, that it was going to go downhill real fast. But hindsight's also 2020. And we can't go back in time. So how do you guys see this paralleling now and increased in its, or how has it escalated since, in your eyes? What do you see as the most escalatory piece of it? And where can we respond to those escalatory pieces since his first term?
Well, I mean, the 2.5, maybe just 2 pages. Yeah, about 2 pages of full text of this chapter. One of the things that jumps out to me is that it captured a tweet by Senator Marco Rubio, who was imploring the then President Donald Trump to, let's see, he says, very important for the nation to hear from POTUS, describe events in Charlottesville for what they are, a terror attack by #white supremacists. Now we have Marco Rubio serving as Secretary of State, who is implementing white supremacist policy. He is banning people of color from the country. He has set up policy to allow white South Africans to the United States as refugees. Marco Rubio has become a white supremacist. That is the thing that jumps out at me from these pages. The reason why I put Surviving Autocracy on the list, and again, I did this list in November of 2024, so it's a different world we're living in currently. It's because I wanted people to understand that we already lived through this autocracy. We, as the book title says, we already survived autocracy. We may not have recognized it for what it was in the beginning. Many of us, I should say, may not have recognized it during the first term. I think back to Charlottesville, and I became, later on, infiltrating neo-Nazi organizations, became known as like the Nazi hunter, right? But in 2017, I didn't pay very much attention to this. Like I wasn't dedicating my life to fighting these people at that point. I wouldn't do that for another 3 years. And like you said, Nick, hindsight is 2020. I wish that I got more involved in the fight then. And I imagine a year from now, there's going to be a lot of people who are looking at this moment in time and wishing they got involved earlier.
Right. But I think there's what we're experiencing is something that Hal Sparks calls a normalization bias. And that's probably what, and when I'm reading this book and it takes place, she writes, and Gessen writes back in the first maladministration about, and it really is, when we look back in retrospect, you could see the slide to autocracy is clear, but also the corporate media, how they try so much to turn Trump into a president so many times. Oh, he became president today. Oh, now any small glimpse of normalcy, they elevated him like, oh, he is finally president. And I think that's what people are. They want to make this normal. And this has almost become normal now, even though the one good thing is that Trump's approval ratings are in the toilet. But, and I mean, when you think about Marco Rubio, what came to mind just now was how he compared Trump's vision to have two men beat the shit out of each other on the White House lawn to JFK going to the moon. I mean, if that's not, if that doesn't show you how far people like him have fallen, and I don't know what we do about this is, I think what we do is what we're doing, and we have to call it out and unapologetically, nonstop.
Yeah. And I think too, like, even just going into the next chapter for chapter 18, throw off the mask of hypocrisy, like on page 171 to 172 of the paperback copy, it talks about Trump promised to do more than to reverse this period of progress. He promised to change the narrative, to assign a different set of values to the American story.
Yep.
This prospect was offered as a balm to Trump supporters who felt injured by the culture of inclusion, slighted by affirmative action, forced into contortions by political correctness, and generally sidelined by a society that used to belong to them. The promise is you no longer have to pretend.
Right. That's
and
it.
And I think that's probably one of the most powerful statements of the book, is they no longer have to pretend. Wow. And that's the thing, is like, you look back at it and I look at American history in general, and because this is an American problem right now. I mean, it's a world problem. This is all around the world, but we need to face this here in America by facing our own past, where we don't have a good past. And we have been fighting for generations to change the discourse where it's, you don't have to, where instead of it's, you don't have to pretend to be non-racist, is you don't have to pretend to be racist.
Yeah.
I don't want to be part of a racist system. I don't have to pretend like I like the system that we're in now and the oppressive nature of it. Maybe it's a good thing that he's allowed us to not pretend anymore. But he allowed his supporters to not pretend to care about being pleasant and just decent people. They just got to regress to their baser instincts.
Which is vile, really. I mean, this is Trump who ate dinner with Nick Fuentes, an open Nazi who also hates democracy. Talks about we get Trump elected, and that'll be our last election. I know he's turned against Trump now, but he still has a lot of followers. And then you have Elon Musk, the Hitler salutes, and going around Europe, encouraging right-wing groups. And then that he's going to be a trillionaire soon is absolutely disgusting. I mean, we really have we have our work cut out for us, that's for sure. So, but yeah, the Nazis have moved into GOP spaces now. They don't have to hide it anymore. So,
I don't think the Nazis moved into GOP spaces. I think the Nazis came out of hiding.
Yeah, they came out.
The GOP spaces.
You're right.
They were always there because they are the remnants of the KKK, the daughters of the Confederacy, the children, sons of the Confederacy, all of that. That's who they are. That's what helped inspire the Nazis. So the Nazis have always been a part of this party.
Yep.
And they just finally got to let it out, because Trump is really the realization of the KKK platform, in my eyes, more so than almost any other platform. He was never a Democrat. He was never a Republican. He's a KKK member. He thrives on their platform. And yeah, Kris, in our audience, slave catchers. That's what these folks would have been okay with. I put it out the other day. If you're okay with ICE snatching people up and building concentration camps because they're illegal, you would have been fine with slave catchers catching slaves who ran away.
Yes.
Because they were property.
That's right.
And we shouldn't shy away from that.
You're right.
And I think we've shied away from it too long in this country.
Yeah.
Where we don't like to talk about the Confederacy or slavery in its harshest terms. And now we don't have to pretend.
This is a great time to have this discussion as we're talking about like the 250th birthday of the United States, the commemoration of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. I was in my late 30s. I'm 40 right now, so it was like very recently before I learned about Own a Judge, a person who was enslaved by George Washington, you know, our chief founding father, and he spent the rest of his life hunting her down. She remained free, but our first president, one of these founding fathers that we collectively, the United States has deified, he sent federal marshals. Like he used every power that he could of the federal government to try to detain a formerly enslaved person that had freed herself. He when the capital was in Philadelphia, and Pennsylvania was a free state that granted freedom to any enslaved person who was there for, I think, something like more than 90 days or more than 6 months. He would rotate his enslaved people back to the South to refresh the amount of time on that clock to freedom. So
so they could never claim to be free. And in fact, there's a letter that Own a Judge wrote to George Washington where she calls out his hypocrisy about how he claimed that he's fighting for freedom, but he still can't understand that she would rather be free in the woods, living off the land, not in the comfort of Mount Vernon, and then enslaved in his farm. So but he was like right over his head. There are newspaper in the archive, the newspaper clippings of him with a reward, posting a reward for his to the return of Own a Judge. It's incredible. But these are the things we should learn in school, really, to get the whole full picture. But not at this point. This is the kind of stuff they suppress now.
Well, welcome back to school then.
Right.
Because I wasn't aware of this until this week too. Like I saw this post, somebody posted about it this week, and I was like, holy shit, that makes fucking sense. And I probably heard about this story, and it's been so long since I've thought about it, but holy shit, y'all, like we have to be willing to confront our past. We have to be willing to confront it, or we're never gonna get past it. Like, how are we going to move past racism if we're still afraid to remind ourselves that our founding fathers were racist slave owners?
Right.
Or we created the prison industry system out of old Confederates and moderates deciding that slavery was okay in a different form. And now we're about to have concentration camps built by the descendants of those slave owners and prison industry complex robber barons and old Confederates. And that's what it is. And we have to be willing to talk about that. We have to be willing to, there is no political correctness. One, I think political correctness was a term that was made up just to make being polite and being
a good person,
decent person, make it politicized, because there's nothing political about every human has value. There's nothing political about trans people should exist, or LGBTQ plus people should have the same rights as non-LGBTQ plus people, or that non-whites should have the same privileges and equitable ability to get ahead in the world as white people do in this country. But we haven't admitted that. And when we do admit it, we get a lot of hate back towards us, because it's a hard thing to confront if you have been taught or indoctrinated to believe that that's your whole identity.
Right.
And now they get to let it out.
That's it. That's why when they say, you'll see all those social media, I'm sure, and hopefully you haven't really encountered them in real life, but you see these Trump supporters having meltdowns in various places for being, whatever it is. They're always very angry, and they're the Trump card, no pun intended, is they scream, "Trump's your president." Like that's their mic drop moment, right? Oh, Trump is your president, but really, it's a form of abuse. Trump's your president. I get to be like this. This is their permission slip now to be an asshole, to be a dick, to be a racist. I just saw some video of cops confronting this woman who keeps harassing her Mexican neighbors, and her excuse was, "Well, Trump's president. Didn't you get? Don't you hear? Don't you know Trump is president? I get to do this. Basically, I get to be, I get to harass my Mexican neighbors now." This is the kind of country that fascism flourishes in, and that's why when Kris, you're talking about building community, this is why this is so important, because community is the antidote to that. When you are engaged in a community, that's why they break us apart. That's what they do. This is the deliberate us against them, the way that they're fomenting in the country, and it's really sad. I hope I live to see the end, the other side of it, really, because I think people are kind of sick of it. I don't know. Maybe I'm speaking for myself, but I'm sick of the cruelty. That's for sure. So hopefully we've had enough of it, right? I don't know, but we'll see.
Well, we haven't. We haven't had enough, to be honest. Americans haven't woken up enough.
Right.
Or
It takes
else
gas
the economy,
prices.
yeah, or else the economy would be shut down. And
You're right.
Elon Musk wouldn't have just made
Yeah.
IPO deal that
Right.
that's going to make him a trillionaire.
Which is unacceptable.
Which is completely unacceptable. Yeah.
How we're allowing this to happen is, it's almost like, oh, it's inevitable. We can't do anything about it. Why not? There are, billions and billions of us, and there's one of him. So, is this healthy for a society? One Nazi to be a trillionaire, and not an outright Nazi, okay, raised by Nazi, who's not a genius. He's certainly a sociopath. Is this what could go wrong, right? When this guy's a trillionaire, unbelievable. But yeah,
I can't see anything going wrong with giving a
like
neo-Nazi eugenicist $1 trillion to do
like
with
a
whatever
super
he
villain.
wants.
Haven't we seen enough, Marvel movies to know how this ends? Where he's like a super villain.
So the Wall Street Journal just did an article in anticipation of the IPO today of SpaceX and Elon Musk becoming a billionaire, a trillionaire, which he is now.
Disgusting.
And the journal's headline was something like, "You have no idea what a trillion is," and it tries to help people understand the gravity of how large of a number that is. It's too large for a human being to truly comprehend. We can imagine 10. We can imagine 10 hands. That's 100, right? But when we add that many zeros, a million millions, that is incomprehensibly large, right? That's what a trillion is. It's a million millions. A millionaire is that's big, right? Like I live in New York. My house is worth about $1 million. 1,000,000 of my houses is fucking tremendous. That is bigger than some states.
Yeah. Yep.
It is
unbelievable.
It is wild to me that we live in a country that I mean, I guess it's not wild. It makes sense that people are not fearful enough of
you're right,
of individuals gathering that many resources and hoarding them and being able to influence global markets with it. I mean, we already saw Elon Musk, shutting off his satellites to our Ukrainian allies. Right? Our defense industry is becoming so addicted to Elon Musk that he is going to, it doesn't matter who the next president is, he is going to have immense leverage over the president of the United States from now going forward, unless we do something like invoke the defense industrial security law. I can't remember the name of the law.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm not a socialist, but I do think that SpaceX should be owned by the American people. It's
well, he certainly subsidized it enough, that's for sure.
It's tax subsidies that created Tesla. It is tax subsidies that created SpaceX, and X or XAI. Bernie Sanders came out with a bill that I think is actually genius, and that is to make it so that every AI company that has harvested the results of human creation, literary creation, mathematics, everything that we've done to build their LLMs, well, we should all have an ownership stake in it.
Yeah.
So
true.
I think under the current political regime, between the way that people are suffering now, even MAGA is starting to realize, like, grocery prices are getting out of hand, gas prices are getting out of hand. The Iran war is going to continue, that neither Iran nor Israel have any incentive to bring it to an end. So we're going to see Europe run out of jet fuel this summer. Like, things are going to get worse. I do believe that after things get far worse than they are right now, that there is going to be the political appetite to do things like socialize SpaceX and make it a publicly owned company.
Palantir would be a good fast follow. That way we can dismantle them. Maybe not dismantle SpaceX itself, because having a working, really good, cost-efficient space program isn't a bad thing. However, needing a personalized surveillance apparatus for every American is not. And it would also be a good chance for us to tear apart XAI and the Palantir AI tools, and actually do what was needed for them to implement. If we want to have AI systems, that's fine. If we want to have large language model systems that help improve our efficiency and our ability to process large quantities of data, good. Like, I don't want to have to do that work. I don't want to have to fucking have data scientists trying to hunt down these types of data that can help improve our society. I want a tool that can help them. I want a tool that can make our lives better. And nationalizing is on the radar. I think that's going to be on the radar. I think people are going to start. I love Bernie. I've always liked Bernie's policies for the most part. I know he's had some issues in the past. People have talked about some of his issues, and he has been on point in his continued for the people, for the working class, for the regular people, since he started running for office, since before he was in office, when he was first arrested for protesting for civil rights.
Yeah, he's the real deal.
And he ran too early for president, even though he's too aged and he should not be president now. He ran too soon, and America was not ready for Bernie's run. America was not ready for true progressive policies, because we hadn't been oppressed enough, to be totally honest, because Americans have to fucking feel things ourselves before we decide that they're real, because we're this hyper individualistic nation, or we've been trained into being hyper individualistic.
Divided. That's the problem. There are silos of information, and one half of the country is ingesting lies on a regular basis. So
and I think Bernie is doing it smartly now too. Yes, everybody knows Bernie caucuses with the Democratic Party, and yes, everybody knows he's much more Democratic leaning than others, but he's latched onto a populism in a way that we've needed. Like, we need a populist movement of sorts in the States. Like, that's the only way we're going to get people's attention.
Yeah.
is populism of some form. It doesn't have to be nationalistic populism or hate-filled populism. Bernie's talking about populism that brings stuff back to the people.
Yeah.
What you just
talk
mentioned,
about
Kris.
FDR. Yeah, like FDR.
Yeah, what you
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Tara. What you just mentioned, Kris, about the AI stuff, like I've been talking about that, is it's our knowledge. It's our cumulative wealth. It is aggregated intelligence.
Yep.
It is not artificial. It is aggregated human intelligence into large language models, and that is our intelligence. And if we own part of that intelligence and we get dividends back from it, that's called a universal basic income.
Yeah.
And guess what? Everybody benefits from that. Everybody benefits from a universal basic income.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we're going to have the appetite to get there.
I mean, people like Sam Altman and Elon Musk, 10 years ago were talking about when AI is fully implemented, UBI would be necessary. And it's like, well, you guys brought us here. Like, we didn't ask you to. So time to pony up.
Yeah. Well, that used to be a conservative idea anyway, universal basic income. That was their counter to any kind of welfare, any kind of public assistance was universal basic income. I don't know why. I guess they just dropped it because they have nothing. They have no plans for the American people except dragging us back to the dark ages. And that's part of what Gessen writes in these chapters too, is talking about anti-politics, where they don't do, where there's no more working for the American people. It's just the show. It's just the bullshit and the division. That's what they have for us as a people. And we see it now. We see it. Trump is really full tilt boogie with that. He doesn't care about the American people. He said it outright. And he's got his bread and, well, not bread. He's got the circus without the bread for the people. But it's, the whole thing is a spectacle for himself, though.
Let them drink poisoned water.
Mm-hmm.
Will be their new slogan, because the AI data centers.
Right. Yeah.
And this is where communities have picked up too. This is where communities have really come together in a lot of really impactful and meaningful ways, is against data centers. And This is something that is across the board for people, because nobody wants their town to be polluted by data centers. Nobody wants their entire industry to be destroyed by data centers. New York, basically, didn't New York just put a moratorium on all new data center construction? Which is a huge first step.
Yeah.
There needs to be, because if the federal government's not going to do it, the states need to do it, which is put a moratorium on, so that your land isn't taken, your water isn't poisoned, and we're going to run out of water for food if we continue with data centers. And someone said it Courtney said it in the chat, was until food scarcity becomes an issue, Americans really aren't going to wake up.
Right.
Because again, Americans have been taught that we have to feel the issue ourselves before it's real. Yeah. It has to personally affect us in some way. Yeah, it's all selfishness. It's all this idea of individualized sovereignty. And I'm surprised,
all that bullshit.
And I'm surprised we haven't had a larger sovereign movement, sovereign citizen movement in the country yet, of people who think that the laws just don't apply to them anymore and they're sovereign citizens and they can do whatever they want.
Those jokers.
Because those are the RFKers. That's his crowd. And this idea of sovereignty that they put in the first administration and then carried over into the blood and soil sovereignty of this regime is exactly what the sovereign citizen movement was made for. And I think that's going to be a dangerous thing that's going to start cropping up too, as we get further into chaos, as people are going to believe less in the government. And so they're just going to say, well, I don't belong here. I'm not an American. I'm a sovereign citizen. I can do what I want.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I know that's a fringe crowd at the moment, but I can imagine more people being attracted to it when that's as a result of chaos. And that's what I mean. Gessen writes that this is what happens when politics is replaced by scapegoating, and that's how they put it. Real politics involves compromise, negotiation, trade-offs, right? Working together. But what happens and what has happened under the Trump regime, they have replaced that with frightening people enough, scapegoating Muslims, immigrants, trans people, of course, urban. I mean, all the shit that they, the buzzwords, right? The cast of enemies that is, well, they shift it necessarily, but it's always the same. It's constant. It's us against them, and the fear keeps the base unified now. Really does. And the racism, the hate. Let them eat hate is the Republican motto. That should be. So, and the media is reactive, especially on the right, of course, and they run cover for it. And then the other side of the media, I mean, look what's happening to CBS News. It's and now this Barry Weiss is going. There's possibility she might take over CNN, which is disgusting. I mean, you destroy CBS News, the ratings are in the toilet. You break up another American institution, a well-respected, trusted American institution, 60 Minutes, and then they fail you upwards into running an international news network, CNN. It's there we go. That just sums it up too. So
well, in taking over CNN and CBS and NBC and other platforms, like as they continue to take over legacy systems, they do it so that they can rewrite what is going on in the American ethos, and they can rewrite the history to be more exclusionary, because our history is pretty exclusionary in a lot of ways anyway, and they are writing it to be even more exclusionary. Right. I think Gessen captures it really well when talking about the idea of sovereignty again and the shrinking category of us. And so I'll read just a small section on page 178. Trump had reversed history and shrunk the circle of us. In 2017, he delivered his first speech to the General Assembly of the United Nations. He announced, in foreign affairs, we are renewing the founding principle of sovereignty. As president of the United States, I will always put America first. As long as I hold this office, I will defend America's interests above all else, yada, 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 yada. He kept using the word sovereignty and sovereignty and sovereignty. Because that's a nationalistic term of self-isolate. That's an isolationist term. And his idea of sovereignty was that the globalists are taking over and that we need to remove ourselves from the globalists.
Right.
Yet, one, was used to be an anti-Semitic term into itself. And I find it really interesting that the people that they accused of being globalists, such as the Israeli government and Netanyahu, ended up being the ones that they support the most now, too. Like, the globalists that they kept yelling are taking over America, well, you fucking voted him in. Twice. Yeah. And if you want to pretend 3 times, then sure, pretend 3 times. But, like, you guys voted him in twice. And you decided sovereignty. A true sovereign. Thanks. Good chat good comment on our YouTube chat. A true sovereign puts their people first. But a sovereign is different than sovereignty for a person, because a sovereign is a benevolent ruler, and still a sovereign itself is a dictator. Yeah. Like, I don't want a sovereign leader. I don't want a dictatorial leader in any ways. I don't want to be part of an elected autocracy or electoral autocracy. We want to be an electoral democracy. And it sounds like a lot like the USSR and the Iron Curtain. It is.
Yeah.
Like, that's what we're going through. We're going through those USSR moments.
What Trump is confused about, and in this section when he's speaking before the UN using this word sovereign, is he confuses sovereignty with individualism and a certain brand of individualism. Like you can subscribe to individualism and be cooperative, or you can believe that everything is a zero-sum game, and that is Trump. Like he believes everything is a zero-sum game. So if you're not winning or taking advantage of or exploiting, you're losing, right? So we're seeing this right now in with the war in Iran, with the war in Ukraine. The Trump administration is withdrawing something like a third of our air power from Europe, from NATO.
Oh God!
And he's doing that because he believes that for us to have our allies, to cooperate with our allies, is for us to lose. Now, I think that a broad spectrum of people who do believe that NATO is a necessary force are glad to see the Europeans, contributing more to their own defense. I'm not saying that I'm giving Donald Trump credit here, but that is the reality. Like, Europeans becoming more self-sufficient is a net good thing. However, what Trump is trying to inspire is nationalism. Like, that is why he's supporting nationalists throughout Europe. And he seems to think that by supporting these nationalists who would also withdraw from the EU, who would withdraw from NATO, that is going to benefit the United States. But what businesses rely on and what our economy relies on is stability. And by breaking up all of these alliances, we're losing the stability that we depend on to be everything that the United States has been in the post-World War II world, right? The American century was born of the stability of the United States becoming a global power, right?
Right.
And Donald Trump is destroying all of the necessary pieces of that puzzle. The American century is over.
Yeah.
Like, Europe is looking beyond us, and we collectively, the United States, has done enough damage through empowering Donald Trump for a second term in office that there's no coming back.
That's right.
We are going to be raising our kids in a completely different world, in a different world from what our grandparents and our parents knew, where the United States was the global superpower. Like that is not the future we're going to be living in.
And, I mean, he's doing it he's really fulfilling Putin's wish list about destroying NATO and destroying our European alliances. That's what it's about. And, look at the World Cup. People don't want to come here. Why would you? Why? I wouldn't want to go to a country that's like immigrants suck and that you have to get ICE training. They're giving their players ICE training. What do you do when you encounter this Gestapo? It's disgraceful what they're doing to this country. It's I'm embarrassed by it, to say the least, but it's infuriating that we're so vilified now. We're the world's pariah. And we used to have, who could respect us? Who can trust us anymore? No one. We just elected. You could say
Taliban.
Exactly. Right.
Trump has been pretty good to the Taliban.
Yeah.
Or Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, that's true.
But then again, they're mad at him because they're getting bombed, because Trump and Netanyahu started a fucking war that they have no intention on ending. And yeah, we're in another global war. We just don't call it that yet. And at least I think we are. And I think we do need to admit it. And we need to figure out how to make new allies through it, or reattach ourselves to allies who value us. And that's going to take the American people stepping up and stepping in all the way. And I'm like I said, unfortunately, it's going to take hardship. But I think the World Cup is also going to expose a lot of it. To be totally honest, we have 2 months of international soccer players. And Kris, I'll give you a moment here to promote yourself before you got to jump. I think we've already seen a Somali referee not be allowed in, who was one of the most well-vetted referees probably of all time at this point, not allowed in. We've had the Iranian national team came into the States. Lucky. I'm glad they were able to make it here, and I'm glad they made it. You know what? They all came in wearing pins saying 186 for the girls and the women who were murdered when we tomahawked a fucking school. And I'm fearful that when Trump sees things spinning out of control, they're going to use it as an opportunity to make an international crisis and detain fans, detain athletes, and possibly shoot someone and kill someone. Because ICE has killed Americans. They're not going to be above killing non-Americans.
No, they would do it, of course. Yeah, because they don't know how to control themselves anyway. And there's Marco Rubio even said, "Don't think you could overstay your visas." Like telling these athletes, when you come here, like that's how you welcome people into your home. When you have guests over, you say, "Don't think you could get too comfortable here because you're going to be leaving. You're not going to be staying over."
Don't put your feet up on the couch.
Exactly. And who the hell wants to come to your house then? So it's an embarrassment.
All right, Kris, before you got to drop here, promote yourself, my friend.
Yeah, so speaking of games, rather than promote myself, let me talk to you about what's going on Valor Media Network. We're producing a limited series. It's called Our Copa, 6 episodes. The first 3 are already out, and it's about the history of the World Cup and how it's been used both by authoritarians to try to assert fascist control and by athletes, activists, human rights lawyers, and democracies to fight back against authoritarian power. So if you're interested in, and to be clear, yes, it's a sports podcast, like technically, but it's really about history, and it's about human rights, and it's about activism. The second ever World Cup was held in fascist Italy under Mussolini in the 1930s, right? So that's where the first episode begins. Want to encourage folks to look for Our Copa wherever you download your podcasts. It's also on YouTube at Valor Media Network's YouTube channel. Check it out. That is the big thing. The Guardian just named it their #1 podcast of the week, which is really cool. So this is a Valor produced podcast in partnership with Our Copa. You can check out more information about Our Copa at ourcopa.com. In addition to the podcast is a tiny piece of this puzzle. They're doing trainings on how to know your rights when interacting with ICE, both for non-citizens and for citizens. And the goal of Our Copa is to reclaim the game of football for the people. And with that, I've got an interview, so I've got to run.
Okay.
Thank you so much,
Thanks,
guys.
Kris.
All right, Kris. Thank you.
We'll see you again next week. Can you send me a copy of the Valor Media logo? I'll put a QR code up for next week on here too, so that we're able to promote the Valor Network.
Absolutely. Catch you guys later.
Okay. See you later, Kris. Thank you.
And I think with that's actually a really good point for us, I think, to transition anyway, to close out the episode for the day, and move into let me drop Kris's screen off for now, since he's gone with us, and move on to what we're going to be coming back to next week before I let Tara promote herself, and then I'll promote myself. Is next week we're going to be coming back to Surviving Autocracy. We're going to be working on the last 3 chapters and the epilogue for Surviving Autocracy, so chapters 20 through 22. That'll be our last discussion next week on Surviving Autocracy. And so while Tara is promoting herself, I'm going to get up onto the Anti-Fascist Book Club website, and I'm going to get the book that we will start for next week, or in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
So that everyone can have 2 weeks to get a copy of their own book. Go to the library, get started reading on it, whatever you need to be able to do. But Tara, I'm going to give you some time here to, just like Kris, to promote yourself and let people know where they can find and support your work.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, guys, thank you. Just hit that QR code over there and join my Substack. That'd be great, because we have a show every Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday live. Friday night tonight, 8:30 p.m. We have it's a little casual. We get 2 hours to go through the news of the day. And tonight's guest will have Andrea Brower from the Hal Sparks Show, the associate producer of the Hal Sparks Show. And yeah, Jim will be there. He's in the chat right now, and I hope he'll be there. I'm speaking for him, but
Tara, I saw some good comments on Jim in the chat today.
Yes.
Thanks, Jim, for all your great comments for
Tara
us.
Jr. will be there. As
nice.
Here he is. He's right. You'll be there, right, buddy? Right? Okay. So, all right. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Tara. Thanks for being here with me,
yes,
as always.
Of course.
I really appreciate and value your contributions to these discussions.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Absolutely. And then everyone, come here and come over to Sick of This Shit Publications. I'll maximize myself for a quick second. Come support me at Sick of This Shit Publications, where we do chronic illness discussions, masculinity discussions, just unfiltered progressive ideas and human-focused ideas. It's a better humaning project. So come support me over there at Sick of This Shit Publications. And we're building some cool tools for content distribution and support. And then when you're done supporting at Sick of This Shit Publications, come here and support Banner and Backbone, where we put on the Anti-Fascist Book Club, where we have Palin Talk, where we have other discussions. We have great contributors and friends like Tara and Kris. We have others in our audience who add so much to our discussions. Everyone who is here with us, everyone in the community, thank you for being a part of these discussions. It's amazing. You guys are all really amazing. The questions are great. The back and forth is important. And it's wonderful that you guys are here learning and being a part of this with us. And like I said, I was going to give you all the book for next week. The title will be included and a link where you can find the book in a non-mega corporation purchasing way, so through the publisher or a more direct link, is we're going to be reading How to Be an Anti-Racist by Ibram X. Kendi.
Nice.
And so from the book club list, in How to Be an Anti-Racist, Ibram Kendi presents a transformative approach to understanding and dismantling systematic racism. Kendi argues that neutrality in the face of racism is not enough. Yeah. Individuals must actively adopt anti-racist policies and practices. The book explores intersections of race, power, and policy, providing readers with practical steps to challenge and change systematic injustices. And so in 2 weeks, we'll be starting How to Be an Anti-Racist, and I'm really excited. Yeah. I've heard a lot of really good things about that book previously, so I'm really looking forward to reading it and having it a part of my knowledge base, and I hope everybody else looks forward to reading it and having it part of their knowledge base if they have not read it, because we need to be actively anti-racist. It's not enough to be neutral. Right. It's not enough to be silent. That's what moderates did, and that's how we got here. Yeah. Was we were silent in the face of oppression. We were silent in the face of hate. We were silent in the face of Christo-fascist white nationalist rage, when we should have been the loudest and most anti-racist at that point. And so let's make sure we all learn how to be anti-racist, because we're not anti-racist enough.
That's right. And so, especially now with all this bullshit about woke and DEI nonsense. Oh my God.
And having foreign athletes come into our nation and have to be trained on how to approach and be cautious of our modern day slave patrols.
Yes. It's like what year was that? 1930, when Hitler hosted the Olympics, 1930 something. I can't remember exactly. I was looking it up. But yeah, it's like that. We'll see the old footage of the World Cup and ice, and just hearing the stories of the abuse that's going on. Our visitors are being abused by this maladministration of racists, and they're disgusting. So yeah.
And Neuro, that's a great comment, is to bring some folks on who are more to help increase our diversity for this discussion.
That's true. Very true.
And I definitely know some folks who would probably be willing to be a part of the discussion around anti-racism. Friend Will Fullwood, who people have seen before, he has a publication called The Contraband Wagon, and his publication is directly and specifically about anti-racism and the discussions around anti-racism, and I'd love to get his perspective. We've also got friends like Naida Green, who would be an incredible addition. She's one of the leads. I think she started it, and I don't want to say it incorrectly, Naida. I'm sorry if I get this wrong here. Though, is she's one of the leads, and I think the CEO at Disable or.
Oh, what happened?
Sorry.
Oh, I thought you froze.
No, I broke my own brain because I'm trying to. I want to make sure that I get the name of it correct. There we go. Disability Community for Democracy. She's the CEO and founder of the Disability Community for Democracy, and she's a big advocate around disability rights and visibility and anti-racist policies and how we move forward. And I've had some incredible discussions with her, so I'm going to probably get her on into that discussion as well. So Neuro, thanks for that great comment, because I think that is really important. And so, yeah, so in 2 weeks, we will be starting How to Be an Anti-Racist by Ibram X. Kendi. And like I said, that will be in the show notes, so you don't have to remember it right now. And you will be able to easily find it once the show is over, once I get the episode review out, which should be out later today or tomorrow. So please get your own copy of the book. Go to the library and pick up a copy of the book. And then while you're at the library, start your own Anti-Fascist Book Club. The guidebook is right above my head, right here. You just scan that QR code, go to the guidebook, and start your own. Start your own local Anti-Fascist Book Club, because that's how we spread it. We build community. And when we're together, we're stronger. Because E pluribus unum was our national motto once. Out of many, one. Out of many makes one great nation. And so we can be a great nation. We just need to become one with each other. So, Tara,
thank you.
Kris is gone. Everybody else, though, in the audience, thank you all so much for being here. I appreciate all of you. Have a wonderful Friday. Have a great weekend. And we will be back next week for our final discussion into Surviving Autocracy by Masha Gessen. And then following on, we'll be starting How to Be an Anti-Racist. Thanks, everyone. We'll talk to you again soon.
See
and
you soon.
go be anti-fascist this weekend. Thanks, y'all.